Okay, welcome back to Candy Codes. This is Tech and Tunes, where we learn about codes, about programming, about everything that has to do with coding, programming, and so on and so forth. And today we are starting a new series that's based on that's for beginners in HTML in web programming. And what is HTML? HTML is a term that refers to hypertext markup language, meaning that the word HTML is just an extract of this uh, set of words put together. And quickly, briefly, would be starting our class today with a mobile device. So the fact that you don't have a PC, a laptop, a desktop, a computer, a Mac would not stop you from learning how to code. And to make it quick and simple, I'll be using an IDE, that's a development environment, and I'll be using a text editor, that's our code editor, for which we call by name Visual Studio Code. That's for the PC Visual Studio Code, and for the mobile device we have Visual Studio Mobile. So if you want to join me, just pause the video right now and go on your Play Store or your any of the stores you have there and download Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio Mobile, and you continue from there. So quickly, I am just with my Visual Studio Code here, and so it's just all this. Now, okay, I think I had this done before time. Now, quickly, when you have your Visual Studio Code, it might require you granting access. So when you grant access to it, and when you grant access to the whole thing, it brings you this kind of a storage device. Now, the first thing you do when you want to start a project is just to have a directory opened. If you're using your PC, I mean your laptop, your desktop, and stuff like that, your personal computer, it will be required of you to use your command line. We would not talk much about that now. And on your command line, you can do some mkdir, that's making directories, and going into the directories, which is practically what we will be doing here too in the manual form. Now, quickly, to make it easy for us, here we have this here, and we want to create a folder for the project. So I click on this button here, and then if it's a folder I'm creating, I select this, and then I can have the name of the folder. Let me call it Introduction to, sorry, to HTML. Okay, Introduction to HTML. So here, so hence I'm inside the folder now. Inside the folder now, I want to create just one file. The first was a folder. This is a file. A folder is just like a location where a directory where we can store files. So and then the file is just what I'm creating now. And the file I will be working with today is called, or is what I would call, index.html. So .html refers to the extension name, meaning that if there's no .html there, it is not an HTML file. If I have .txt, it's a txt file. If I have .docx, meaning it's a document file. So that is what determines the kind of file you're opening. And if you mistakenly click on this, it shows you are naming a folder by this name. So this is not a folder, it's a file. So hence, I create the file index.html. So here, now welcome to this point. If you've gotten this far, I must commend you. You have done a very great job. Okay, so now to have it all together, I would need you to understand some very key and important things in HTML. Now, HTML is actually a simple language, which shouldn't take you so much time to understand. And the first important thing that you should know about HTML is that everything in HTML just deals with four things. The whole thing in HTML is just four things. So you shouldn't just get yourself worried about too many things. It's just four things you're learning. And the first thing you're learning in HTML is what we call by name tags. So when we talk about tags, what do we mean by tags? Tags refer to the kind of things we have in this brace, this angular bracket. For example, if I have angular bracket B and B, this angular bracket, the open and the two angular brackets beside or in front and at the back of the B makes it a tag. Are we together? And we have two types of tags. We have the open and close tag. We have the self-closed tag. We have the open and close tag. We have the self-close tag. Now, the open and close tag is one of the things we are going to be discussing today, and we might in next class discuss the self-close tag. Now, the whole of HTML is based on these tags, and these tags put together, when it's put together in a procession, it makes up what we call an element. For example, I did this earlier, right? This becomes an element on its own, because the fact that it exists this way will make you understand the fact that I have created an element now. Now it is now an element, because anything I put in between, that is in between this open and close tag, would have the attribute of that element. This element B, whichever thing it represents, would have it there. So anytime I have that done, I would just make use of those tags in creating elements. Now let's start it up from the very beginning. Now in HTML syntax starts like this. We have HTML here, and here also we have what we call, I just put a space there. I press enter so I can have it again. Sorry, I should have a closing tag there. HTML. Now let me explain quickly. The first one on line 1 is an opening tag, and the second one on line 2 is a closing tag. Now without the closing tag, without the closing tag, an opening and close tag, that I said we have two types of tag, open and close tags, and the second tag is a self-closed tag. And if you are using an open and close tag without the closing, the function of the element you have created will just be extended till forever. I don't know if you understand. So meaning that if you don't close it, the function would not be contained. Yeah, so the closing is just for us to have it contained. But if it's a self-closed tag, it's often not something that requires containment, meaning you don't have to tame the function you are dealing with. Now, for us to understand this, now I've created this as HTML. Now, every HTML has just two things inside it. Every HTML syntax has two things inside it. Number one, it has the head, and number two, it has the body. Now, when we're talking about the head, before you write in HTML, before you write out the head, make sure there's what we call indentation. Indentation. Let me spell it, please. Indentation. Thank you. Indentation refers to the spacing between the lines of your tags. Let me use that word for HTML. Although indentation is applicable to every other, language, Python, CSS, JavaScript, and so on and so forth, and so it's just applicable. Now, for us to make some sense with this, let me click on this so as to have some slight indentation. So here I have the head, all right, and then I have to close the head. So anytime I have an opening tag, I must close the opening tag. So hence here I have this as head also. So then I must have the body. Again, here I have to close the body. also. Now, so the head part of the syntax and the body part perform different functions. Now, the head part of your HTML is often the non-visible part of the HTML document, except from the fact that it contains one visible part or one or two visible parts, which are number one, the title, and number two, the favicons, the favorite icons there. So, but for now, we are not going to be discussing on favorite icons. We'll just discuss on what's it called, on the title. So, I will be opening another tag to create what we call title. Sorry, it should be a small letter. Title. And okay, sorry, I was used to typing it all together. Okay, title, and here I have a forward slash to close the title, or else the title would extend till God knows when. Okay, so coming to this middle, so if you notice something, I'm breaking the two tags. The upper tag is the opening, the lower tag is the closing. This is the opening tag, this is the closing tag. In between them, I created the head, opening and closing. In between the head, I created the title, opening and closing. So I can as well tend to leave this title like this. Let me say introduction to HTML. Okay, for us to know it's different from that introduction, let's say my introduction to HTML. Okay, so here, this is what we have in the body section. Don't worry about the fact that it's seeming like it's getting out of space and place. You can use some tools to check on the errors or insert some colors later on, but for now we really don't need all those. Okay, now let's take some steps further. Now, if you can do this, then it's so easy. You just want to see what your title looks like on the web page. So on the web page, you have something like this. The web view of the site should be opening here. Okay. Okay, so it says nothing is there because I did not save anything. So I need to save. So I've saved it now, and then it should give me my title. I think I just saved now. Okay, saved. And okay, now let me do some things to be clear about my now so normally you would see your title up on the page of the website, but let's still just move some steps forward. Now here I want to start by typing or by inserting what we call heading, and the headings we have are just 6 in number in HTML, and they are just numbered according to their size. H1, that's the bigger one, is bigger than H2. H2 is bigger than H3. H3 is bigger than H4. H4 is bigger than H5, and H5 is bigger than H6. Now, so if you look at that same succession, you understand what I mean. Let's say here, let me type my heading, and I put number 1. Okay, so here, let me do the same here. So I'm doing H2. So let me type straight up my heading H2. H2. Okay. And now if you notice something, everything that I'm writing that I want to show would be in between the H1s and the H2 opening, I mean H1 opening tag and the closing tag of H1. For example, my heading 1 is in between H1's opening and closing tag, and my heading 2 is between H2's opening and closing tag. So once I save this, I should be able to see what I created. Yeah, this is my heading 1 and my heading 2. But on your browser, you would be able to view your title. I think there's something wrong with the title I created. That's why it's not showing. Yeah, there should be something wrong with it, because I can't imagine what's wrong with title. I think it's well spelt. Okay. Okay, so so my heading 1, can you see my heading 1 is big, my heading 2 is smaller. Now, in this case, you understand the fact that this my heading 1 here, which I have here, has two tags, I mean, at the back, meaning on our code editor here, on our text editor, we have H1 on heading 1, we have H2 around heading 2. Now, I would create this as the third and the last for this point. You would have to continue from here to the H6. And please, once you're done with this, feel free to do the assignment which is given to you right now, and then send it, send the link to the assignment in the place for the comments below. Do you understand? So let me just finish this. My heading 3, that's H3. So I come here to put this up and I say H3, and then we close it. So all I need to do is save, and I load it. Voila, it's there. So I have my heading 3, my heading 2, my heading 1, all available on the page. So thank you so much.